Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist, and I'm so glad you could join me for this episode. I am so excited. Today, I am joined by some of the leadership at Habitat for Humanity here in Yankton County. And so I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about all things Habitat today, which is so great.
It's so great. Thank you. I am Cindy Erlinson, Executive Director for Habitat.
And I am Marcus Brandenburg, the Neighborhood Revitalization Coordinator.
So Cindy, you probably recognize from the podcast. She's been on a couple of times, but Marcus, you are brand new.
I'm brand new, yeah.
So you want to tell us a little bit about what your role is and what brought you to Yankton and to Habitat?
Yeah, so my role with Habitat is repairs primarily. So we're going to be serving people in the community that just need some basic safety stuff. So like fixing decks, painting houses. But we're also looking for contractors that can do larger projects. So we're going to utilize 504 grants is what we're going to try to utilize through the state. But the whole point of the program is just to help people that are in need. And so we utilize the HUD guidelines and different income levels. So there's a qualification process. We just want to serve and help people in the community to have strong and stable homes and just help everybody that we can.
Which we know that there are so many people that have projects, and it's actually so hard to find people to take on a small project. Even if you have the money to do it, it's still really difficult to find the help to get it done.
It is.
And so I'm really excited. And you've talked about this kind of project before. We tend to think of Habitat as being building houses, and our church has been a part of that. About 4 years ago, we spent a lot of time working on a Habitat build, and that was an awesome experience. But I'm excited about this program of going in and doing these smaller projects, and it touches more lives that way.
It does. The impact is phenomenal because you can utilize a smaller budget and get a lot done. So most of the projects are around $1,000 or below, but it's a great opportunity just to serve, like I said, simple things. So you're helping a lot of the elderly or disabled or people who just don't have the time. And so it gives people a sense of pride in their home. Just simple paint, can really revitalize a home. Planting some bushes, flowers, trees, that kind of stuff. Just like little beautification projects can go a long way. And people just feeling like they love where they're living in their community. And so that's another aspect of what we're doing is we're going to try to grow into more of a community aspect to have like a rock the block kind of thing, bringing in partners and a whole neighborhood, primarily in the Whiting area is what we're looking at. And so just really have an opportunity to bring the neighborhood together and have unity. And so they all have that sense of, like, this is our neighborhood. We want to come in and just help, fix up things, clean up trees, yards, all of that. And so that's the beautiful thing about this program is that it gives an opportunity for people to just know what's going on in their community and have a sense of home ownership. I don't know, it's just coming together, knowing your neighbor and just having pride in your community. So it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's so incredible. And we've been talking, and in our pastor book club for this month, we're talking about social media. And one of the things is how we've kind of lost our ability to know our neighbors and to have that sense of connection and community. And so I love this program and this idea of how do we reconnect and connect with the people around us and see what the needs are, but also just like get to know each other.
Exactly.
One of our big pushes anytime that we're doing mission here in the church is we prioritize mission that prioritizes relationship. And so that's why we have our Loads of Love laundry mission, because it prioritizes relationship. We get to know the people, we get to know their stories, we get to understand why this is such a need in our community. And so I'm so excited about this project in particular, because again, it fits all of the criteria that we have for what we believe in and what we are trying to do as a church. And when we can partner together, I think that's super awesome.
Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons we're here today too, because we're looking for volunteers. So we're looking for people that love to, use hand tools and get out there and just cut some wood and plant trees and do the whole thing of just helping the community. So if you'd like to volunteer, we're developing a new pamphlet that we'll be sharing with different homeowners and stuff. And you go to our website, it's got my contact info on there, but there's opportunities to volunteer and sign up there as well. But yeah, we're always looking for people, not only for the repair aspect, but also Cindy probably touch on the restore. We definitely need volunteers there. And so if you just want to serve in a community like your pastor is saying, it's an amazing opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and I'd like to touch on our neighborhood revitalization just a little bit too, because you talked about building houses. And so we have just our first, since I've been here anyway, our first partnership with Yankton High School. We'll be building their they usually build a house, their CTE school builds a house and then they auction it off at the end of the year. So they have agreed to build a house for Habitat. We'll raise funds for the materials to build it. And then it'll be moved on to our site that we have a lot in this area of neighborhood revitalization. So that'll be like next spring. So we hope to have that be the big kickoff to this whole big, love on this neighborhood that's been
Yeah.
underserved historically. It also is a neighborhood where we have at least 10 existing Habitat homes. And so we
Okay.
really feel an obligation to those homeowners who are building equity in their house, in their home, to love on the neighborhood a little bit and kind of bring up the ones around them.
Yeah.
And maybe to help them with some repairs that they might need now 10, 15 years after the house was originally placed. So it's kind of an all come together, super exciting for us. And Marcus came in, definitely a God thing. Just called me and like, yeah, so we're so excited to have Marcus lead this.
Thank you.
And then I also hope, with this wonderful congregation that has this, just the strongest roots with Habitat here, that we can get a core group of really wonderful folks who will be agreed to be on Marcus's call list for, hey, I've got a project. We don't have project every week kind of thing, so it is kind of hard to keep people engaged, and just would really love to have, that kind of group that Marcus can kind of rely on to
Yeah.
help us out, which should just be so fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and so now I'll talk about the Restore as far as kind of, so the Restore is doing really good business. That's really helps us, to get those funds to help fund our projects when funding is very, very low right now, from other sources. And to help us keep making sort of a profit for it, we really need volunteers to help us out. And so we have a wonderful core cashier lady. She's an older retired lady. You don't need to lift or move things. You just need to be social and happy and like want to visit with people. And just, if you want to take a shift to run the cash register once a week, twice a week, we would love that so much. We also can use folks who just, are organization people or, clean and place items or, really anything there. But the cashiers, I would just love to have a couple more cashiers like we have right now in our wonderful volunteers. So if you want to think about that or give us a call, or I'm sure Pastor Katie will pass the information on to us. if
Yes,
you think it's over.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, and I just want to reiterate, there's skill levels, all skill levels. And so if you are someone who wants to be doing stuff, you want to get your hands dirty, get involved, they've got stuff for you. If you're someone who, I can't lift or use a hammer, but doing the side of the Restore and I love the Restore. I almost have a hard time being in there because I always find things that I didn't know I needed.
Oh gosh, and if you work there.
And there's such good prices
Yeah.
as well. Like it's one of those things that sometimes I think we don't even realize what we have right in town, and especially around furniture. I know that in the past when we've done rummage sales and things, any of our furniture that we don't sell, we take to the Restore. And so there's always, I tried to buy a capsular one day because here's the other thing. There's really good stuff there, but it goes
really
fast.
fast,
I
yeah.
missed it by like 5 minutes.
That happens a lot.
But then, you look around and I have a lovely piece of art on my wall at home now that I found at the Restore when I wasn't looking for it. And that's part of it too, is again, just checking because it changes over all the
It
time.
changes weight, and yeah, that's why we can use volunteers, because we have a very small store.
Right.
And so things are coming back, and Marcus is in there trying to organize the back, and I'm like, then he comes the next day and it's all full of stuff.
Right.
I'm sorry, this is how it works. But
Yeah.
and so it to get more people to kind of, especially the small stuff, to help kind of place the small stuff and,
Yeah.
throw a price on it and things like that would be
And I know some of you love organizing.
Yes.
And I know
Oh my
some of
gosh,
you,
we need that.
there's been some movement even in our own church building of people reorganizing, taking stock of space and making things look better. And so,
Yeah.
I'm looking at you for some of those things that use your gifts down there as well, because serving Habitat is the same kind of, we can serve Habitat and serving the Lord as well, because their mission fits in with our mission. We make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. And this project that they're talking about, that is exactly what that is. They are working to transform neighborhoods and to transform lives in the process. And I love this, you know, the neighborhood that you're focusing on, that really talking about, these are houses that we helped build, and now it is, the next step of that, the next phase of that, of upkeep, and, that you're not just leaving people like, okay, have fun, enjoy your house, right? Like, it's a whole lifelong journey that we walk together in. And I think that's awesome. And so I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's really bringing the community together. So, yeah, there's a lot of community outreach aspects. I've already talked to the center, which is kind of over in that area. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity to bring different partners in the community together and serve. So it says, like, even right here in our little brochure, community outreach, bringing people together to improve and strengthen their neighborhoods. That's what we're all about. And super excited to work with your church, Laura. I'm excited to be here in Yankton. I live up by Lake Vermilion, just west of Sioux Falls, but absolutely love the Yankton area. Used to come down here all the time as a kid and go boating and stuff on the river, and fishing. And so I really love this community. And so, yeah, look forward to getting to know more people in the community and just working together. So.
And Marcus also, in his work in Sioux Falls, has, brought not only people in the community together, but also the other organizations that serve, the other nonprofits that serve, because we know that it is that multi-layered, the people are needing, their yards cleaned up, maybe help with some things, but there's so many other layers to it, and we just need to help each other. Because the hardest part is to reach the people that need the help, because they're not always reaching out. And if
Right.
one of us gets in and we see that another person maybe can help them,
Yeah.
we need to refer and talk to each other about what we can offer here. And that's the best way to bring up the whole community. And that's a passion of Marcus.
Yeah, and that's something we did in Sioux Falls. We started the Community Revitalization Collective. So I work with a lot of community health workers who go out and they can see people's needs. So if it's elderly, like maybe some grab bars or a shower chair or walk-in shower. So we work with like independent living choices here in town. We're trying to partner with them on some projects. So building ADA ramps. And so, yeah, so the Habitat's developed what's called the Quality of Life Framework, and there's 7 sectors to that. And I can share that with you some other time, but it's basically like transportation, housing, education, finances, health. There's a whole array. And so we partner with other organizations that deal with those primarily, but then we're coming together and we're collectively serving and helping somebody improve. That's the whole point, improving their quality of life.
Right.
So,
yeah, because all of these things are often connected. Most people don't just have one need. If they're in need in one area, as often those are overlapping. And so, and Yankton, one of the things I've loved about Yankton is there is such a strong nonprofit presence here, such a strong ethos of the community helping one another. And a lot of the nonprofits, are trying to work together because ultimately they're all working toward the same goal. They're just attacking it or working toward it in different areas, but they're all working toward the same thing. And so often the clientele are the same people. And it's because they reach out for help in one way, and then you start to see the fuller picture of, because someone who is in need, who is hungry, well, there's a myriad of reasons that is the case. We see that in the laundry ministry, and that's one of the ways that our church has been able to start to understand more of what's going on in the community. Because if someone can't afford their laundry, well, there's other things at play there. And so it helps us to have an ear to what's happening, to also be able to help intercede and to refer to the right organizations, because so often people are so overwhelmed and they don't know where to turn, or they don't know that help is available, or the process for that can be so complicated. And so helping in one area and then allowing that to be kind of the the foot in the door, right? To help people, to get them connected, to get the help that they need. And again, that's one of the things that I've discovered in ministry so often when we have people coming for help is that it's often many things that are contributing to their situation in life. And fixing one thing doesn't fix the problem, but how do we start somewhere and then allow that to be the catalyst for a life being changed?
And to touch on that, like with Habitat, we're not allowed to proselytize. We talked about that earlier before we started the podcast. But like you're saying, Pastor Katie, is that there's so many opportunities to pour into people. And so like we're just helping their physical need, giving them good shelter and improving their quality of their home, their structure that they live in or reside in. But there's a need for every other sector. So one of those on this was spiritual. And so as a congregation, you guys have an opportunity to share your faith. Not that you want to do that aggressively or whatever, but you can be loving and just share like what God's done in your life and be the light. And so when you're out serving and helping Habitat, there's opportunities that sometimes arise that you can evangelize, but we're not allowed to do it as staff. We have rules and regulations, but I just want you guys to know we are trying to serve holistically.
And I think too, just, if you're volunteering, you can certainly say, I come from United Methodist Church, and you are showing you're Christian by your love of what you're giving, in my opinion.
I mean, you can wear one of our shirts. A few years ago, our church did designed shirts because we had a new vision and mission statement that we worked on. And our one of our shirts, it says, love one another, Jesus. And then on the back, it says, I love my church and my church loves me. And then the other one is our cross and flame, which is how you know a United Methodist. We have a giant one on our building here. And then on the back, it has, if you're looking for hope, healing, and belonging, we're here for you. And that's part of our vision statement as a church. We want to be a church of hope, healing, and belonging that loves and serves all through Christ our Lord. That's when we show up for that reason. When we are serving others, it is to serve Christ and to serve and love and to share that love. And we can show up that way. And if someone's like, why would you do this? Why would you spend your time doing this? We get to share our story. And so I think that's what's so impactful. And I'm a big believer as well in kind of the hierarchy of needs. And I saw that in Jesus as well. Jesus doesn't neglect people's physical needs. He is, doing the healing. He's feeding people. He's attending to those things so that he is able to reach them for God. And I think sometimes that is a great model for us, that when we start and address a physical need for somebody, it takes that worry out of their brain and it gives space for God and God's love and mercy to show up. Sometimes if we just talk about, God loves you, but you have a million things that are going wrong in your life and you don't know how you're going to have your next meal, that just isn't going to register. But if you are able to feed someone, if you are able to address a need that they didn't know how was going to be met, that's God working through you. And I feel like then there's a much greater chance of them truly experiencing God's grace.
I will say this 100%. And I will say too, that I know some of the older people that we have served, they become like a family member almost, because they when you find them in their need and you help them with that, they kind of like, older people don't always like to be helped, they want to be like, but once you get into their, to say, it's okay, let us do this, you deserve this, whatever, then they start to trust you, then they really do, then you really see that things start to unfold, and they start to tell you more and tell you, and so having folks, on site that can maybe take some of that, and continue to, if they need somebody to talk to more and things. I mean, I think that would be just a blessing too, because, we have a few of those folks like that continue to want to, just even talk to us because they live alone, whatever. Right. So
it's just there's
so much opportunity just to be present and be there. And then those other doors open up what needs can follow. Yeah.
Well, I think also in our part of the country, like we're not like overly expressive in our words with how we love each other, but we show it in what we do.
Mhm.
Just to give an example, in my family, it's all food. And
Mm-hmm.
when I studied abroad, my grandmother and my family sent me so much food in the mail from South Dakota to England because they missed me and they loved me and they wanted me to feel their love. So much so that everyone on the program made fun of me for it. I even got a birthday cake in the mail.
Oh, really?
Real. And they're like, "Where did you get that cake?" And I said, "South Dakota." Yeah. But I think there is something to, if you want to show love to others, I mean, you can say it, but in this part of the country, doing something really, I think, resonates with people.
And that's our motto, is right on the glass in front, putting God's love into action.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's been a big part of why I think our church resonates so strongly with Habitat, is because we are a church of doers. If you were to ask my people just to go out and tell people that Jesus loves you, they would be like, "Oh, I don't know. I believe that, but that's awkward." But if you tell them, "I want you to go out and serve and to do some work or to rake some yard or to plant some trees," they would be there in a heartbeat, because again, they believe in that love and they believe in doing that work, and they believe that doing that work shows the love that they have.
I'm excited to meet you.
So I think definitely we're gonna have to have Marcus back
Yeah.
again, and I might be nudging a few of you in particular who I know that Habitat has been a big part of your life, and some of you newer people who maybe missed out on our house build a few years ago but have some great practical skills. We've got some good skilled people. Maybe see if you guys can get connected and if there's something that works out. But I am so grateful to have both of you here today. And
yeah, I'm grateful to be here. One more little plug, my email is marcus@habitatclayyankton.org. So you can email me there. Just check out our website at Habitat. And I don't know the full website, but it's Habitat Yankton. You can Google it.
ClayYankton.org.
Yeah, and so on there's a program tab, and it'll say neighborhood revitalization, has all our contact info, and that's where you can volunteer, sign up to volunteer. So super excited to be here. Thank you so much.
yes,
And that's so nice to meet you, Pastor Katie.
it was nice meeting you
And
too.
I'm so excited to meet you guys and serve our community together. So.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the ways that we are going to get to do some cool things in the future. I think it's going to be awesome. And so with that, I hope to see you in worship this coming week. And until then, God bless.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a video and audio podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m., either in person or via our live stream, which can be found at our website, www.firstumcyankton.org, or by searching First UMC Yankton on YouTube.